Grace and peace to you from God the Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. I don't know about you, but I can remember a phase in high school when it was popular to wear a t-shirt or else to have a bumper sticker on your car that said, "Question authority." Now, authority is something that we live with every single day, but it's something that we seldom talk about. About the only time we mention it is when we're upset by somebody's actions, and therefore we question their authority. In our gospel today, you notice the religious leaders questioned and challenged Jesus' authority, his right to preach and teach in the temple. And in turn, Jesus challenges them to a different view. Now, I think there's something very deep about the very nature of authority that we have to always grapple with. The reality is that authority is given. Now, you know there is a primary difference between power, the sheer ability to do something or bring something about, and authority, when one's ability to say or make something happen has been delegated or given. Authority, in short, is power, but it has been given, directed, and limited to achieve a particular end. In this church, think about it, we don't allow ministers to just self-declare. On Friday night, a popular author pointed at Lynn and asked her if she was the priest. And as much as Lynn wanted to in that moment, to be the priest of Redeemer, she's not authorized to do so. Because we send people off to be trained, to be formed, and then ultimately the bishop and the church authorizes a preacher to teach, to preach the word, to perform sacramental actions, and to pronounce blessing. So if you really think about it, there is a connection between authority and the words authorize and author. One has authority to do things because one has been authorized to do them by the author, the one with actual power. Authority is always given. And authority is usually given in our lives in two ways. Authority is given above by some power and by below. That is, those that we accept their authority. You see, there's emotional connotations and connections wrapped up in all of this. At some point in your life, you've probably encountered a situation where you or someone else have uttered the words, "You made me feel blank," angry, sad, lonely, hurt. And somebody else said back to you, "I can't make you feel anything. You have responsibility and authority for your feelings." And here's the thing. In about 99% of the cases in our life, those who have perceived authority over us only have it because we give it to them. The colleague who has slighted us, the child who has disappointed us, the spouse or the parent who has abandoned us, yes, even in the case where we have been catastrophically hurt, the way that we regard that person over time is something that only we have the authority to do. If we are still angry, hurt, disappointed, or upset, it's because we have decided to give authority to that person or that event to continue to influence our lives. Now, on the other hand, as Jesus was experiencing, if someone questions our authority, perhaps they should. Because according to Jesus, if we are saying yes to God, but living no with our lives, people will see it. True authority demands a palpable connection between what we say and what we do, between who you are and what you do. Authority never goes over well when it's supposed or taken for granted. This is in part what Jesus is saying. There is a correlation of integrity between word and deed, between ideas and implementation, between vision and action. And authority should only really be granted when there is integrity. If people in positions of authority don't give a nod to the words they speak or the way they live their lives, then their authority will be questioned. As retired preacher Fred Craddock says, the parable that Jesus offers in regard to this says that responses to God are of two kinds. That of the person who has said no, but then repents, and whose life says yes. And that of the person who says yes, but then their life says no. And it's only against this background that I think we can understand that parable right in the middle of the gospel today, where Jesus tells his questioners about two sons. I mean, think about it. What does the two sons really have to do with authority? It seems like nothing. But I think it has to do with how we regard the present and the past and the future. One son says that he will help out, and then he doesn't. Maybe a few parents know what that's like. The other son, however, who becomes the focus of the parable, says that he will not help out, but then he does. Now, whatever motivated his initial response, he was already committed, he was feeling overwhelmed, he was annoyed that his father was asking him to help so much, he was nursing a grudge. Whatever it is, he recognizes that the future is open. He can still respond to his father's invitation and request. And he does so, and he proves himself to be faithful. And he lives into his father's hopes. At this pivotal moment in Matthew's story about Jesus, and through this seemingly simple parable, Jesus invites his adversaries, those questioning him, into an open future. One that's not dominated by the arguments or the conflicts of the past, but one that is open to God's movement, a movement that can heal and restore and make all things new. The chief priests and the elders, though, we see that they don't accept that invitation. They have too much at stake in the past. It has created for them their primary identity. And whatever the limitations are, they have become dependent on that identity. And so they refuse to trade that past for an open future. Do we sometimes do the same? Because those who are down and out, the gospel tells us, who were represented by the prostitutes and tax collectors, people who have recognized that their past, their present is not bringing them life, they grab hold of Jesus' promise. They grab hold with both hands. They grab hold and they don't let go. And here's the thing. Jesus makes that same promise to you and me today, right now. No matter what we've done, no matter what's been done to us, the future is still open. Whatever hurt we may have experienced or done in the past is past. We do not have to let it dominate or determine our future. We are more than the sum total of all that has happened to us. The future is open. It may be really hard, really, really hard, to let go of the past and to walk into the future. Because the past is something we know. Even if it carries with it some sort of dysfunctional identity, it's familiar. And the future can seem so open and so very scary. But honestly, just like the prostitutes and tax collectors, all of us have had times when we have said no to God. Times when we've resisted the burden of the cross, and we've made it clear that we prefer to go our own way. And just like that second son, we've also at times said an easy yes to God, to following God, and then we didn't. Perhaps we thought it would be easy, and then found out that walking the way of Christ was harder than we thought. Or perhaps we really, really meant to go, but we got distracted and waylaid by our own troubles and concerns. Either way, we all need help. We need help in finding a way to say yes and to live yes under God's authority, God's will for our lives. It's easy for us, I think, these days to give over authority in 1,000 different ways. But what about right here, right now? What if we pledged to take a risk in giving God full authority of our lives? He is the author. He's authorized our very being. And it is from God that we get all good things in this life. Can we embrace an open horizon with both hands? Come and see at this table where we are made new week after week, again and again. We are given the sustenance to say yes and to live under that yes with God. And the people of God said,